Hello and welcome to NBL Overtime. We thought it wasn't going to happen. We thought we were going to go the whole season blowout. But finally, especially on Sunday, we were served up some fantastic games. And officially, I feel like the NBL is back, boys.
It has, and again, all hype lived up your eye for that amazing game on Sunday between what many are saying are the top two championship contenders, Melbourne United's historic start. That continues to roll on. Adelaide were right there. And then Tasmania, what an unbelievable comeback that was.
Sunday saved the round. Yep, both road teams, Illawarra Hawks and Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. Tasmania JackJumpers got the win. And, yeah.
Well, it started with the Hawks, to be fair. So we had 3 1-point or very close games in a row.
Now, usually we wear different colours and that sort of stuff, but I feel like maybe this is a bit niche. I just noticed it while we're sitting here. We look like we're in one of those movies where it's like the law firm. There's been a catastrophic financial collapse and there's 3 people sitting around a boardroom. I feel like that's how we're dressed today.
Who's leading that charge then?
Me, right into the ground.
I want out of that boardroom.
Hey, best game of the round, best game of the year. Could be a championship matchup in Adelaide and Melbourne. More than lived up to expectation.
I was watching this game and just, again, I don't think both teams played anywhere near their best, but I was still just watching teams throw haymakers, throw punches, sitting there thinking, geez, I'll take 4 more of these straight after. I'm happy for this to be a championship series. The way they were trying to defend Bryce Cotton, keep him off the free throw line. DJ was big. The final plays, obviously, it came down. Interestingly enough, are we shocked that the ball went to Milton Doyle? I wasn't. I expected him to have the ball in his hands to make a clutch play, and then Jesse Edwards, I mean, we'll talk about him, just way too big of a presence, and Tyson Walker comes up with what was the dagger in a big win for Melbourne United.
Phenomenal game of basketball. I'm going to disagree with you, Pete, with all due respect.
Ooh.
I felt like Adelaide, that was their best game. I felt like the way they shared the ball, they got Draymond Green on the team now, Zion Cheatham. I thought Bryce was brilliant. He only had 22. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but the way he accepted the double team, got the ball on, then they make it the next pass. They got more layups in the half court than I've ever seen them get. I thought the offense was beautiful. I just feel like Melbourne United didn't score to the level they normally score at, so I got to give some credit to Adelaide's defense. But I felt like that was a complete game by Adelaide, and they were stiff to lose.
I don't, because I think Flynn Cameron, that was one of his most poor games for the Adelaide 36ers. I think if Flynn knocks down a couple of those shots, he missed like 3 or 4 layups, then we're getting closer to what you're saying is that complete tick from Adelaide, who still have an import spot to fill. But yeah, I think Melbourne United, that was nowhere near what their very best, but they still found a way to get it done.
Zion Cheatham, you just spoke about it before. This was his breakout game for the Adelaide 36ers that they've been waiting for. If he can somehow, and again, these are pretty crazy numbers, it's hard to retain that all year, but if he can play somewhat near this, they're a totally different beast.
The 21 points is the surprise for me. Like, I know he's going to rebound. 10, 12 rebounds a game, no issue. The assist, because now, like I said, the way teams are going to guard Bryce, he is going to be the guy that's going to dictate the rest of the offense, because Bryce is going to give it up, and then he's going to be the guy. But when he goes to small ball 5, now he's no longer that kind of guy. So he needs a big on the floor with him. But Zion didn't even hit 2 3 balls. Like, he was just doing everything for that team. So if they can get more of that, which they desperately need because they get no bench scoring.
Well,
none.
The 36ers eyes should light up from exactly this. This is what happens when a team, when you, Dean Bickman, will have some sort of plan for Bryce Cotton. They kept him off the free throw line. But if they're going to hard hedge, if they're going to throw bodies at him on the on-ball, that short roll where Zion Cheatham, you pass it to him at the free throw line, that should be where Adelaide say, hey, if more teams do this, from there, he's a great decision maker. He had the 9 assists. He's either going to give it to Humphries or if he's playing the 5. The shooters, Vasiljevic, that's where they can really exploit teams if they go after Bryce Cotton, which I think more teams are going to continue to try and do. Not everyone will have the success that Melbourne did in terms of keeping him off the free throw line. He still had 20-odd, which is what he does.
But Tyson Walker and Dash Daniels, they're rare because Tyson has the speed. So even when Bryce gives it up, he just can't go get it back with ease. Tyson was denying. And Dash Daniels is long, and he was denying as well. So if Bryce is happy to give it up and not get it back, now against other teams, he can go and get the ball back because we need him probably taking more than 17 shots.
As well with what you mentioned with the ball going to Milton Doyle, that's a big one for me because Chris Goulding is the heart and soul of this team. It doesn't matter what the stats say or otherwise. He's been the go-to guy for as long as I can remember. So Milton Doyle, it speaks volumes to the trust, which is, I believe, should be the way in him down the stretch.
I think that's come from this year alone, to be honest. Chris Goulding just coming back from injury, playing fabulously, but we've already seen those clutch moments from Milton Doyle this year. Yes, they both have the resume of stepping up in the clutch, but I also think they'd probably just call timeouts in that situation again. Who's got the best matchup? go and get the ball there. Because also you can't leave Chris Goulding. So if Milton Doyle's got it, Milton Doyle's probably going to put the ball on the floor. And if they flip a matchup, you can't leave Milton Doyle. They've got weapons everywhere. And then Jesse Edwards, my goodness, he is an absolute monster. And I don't think we're giving him enough love.
Oh, my God, Jesse Edwards.
Because it's not exciting. That's why. I hate to say it, but it's boring. Like, it's boring basketball, and that's not a knock.
That's
the
not
guy
boring.
is unbelievable.
That is not boring.
That ain't boring.
That's not boring either.
But he's one of those guys where he's workmanlike in how he goes about it.
I'm not bored, not even close to being bored. I'm excited.
Boring.
This dude is so skilled. I didn't realize it when they first, threw his name out there, Jesse Edwards. He went 10 of 10 from the field, and they wasn't all dunks. He's put himself in the right spots. He got in some early foul trouble, but he is like, you look at guys like JaVale, the guy that went to the New York Knicks.
Hook Porty?
Ario Hook Porty. You look at a guy like that, and who would you rather have, Ario Hook Porty or Jesse Edwards? Give me Edwards. JLA, I still would probably lean towards JLA scoring-wise, but Jesse can do way more than what we initially thought, and he's making free throws, too. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, man, wow.
He's been unbelievable in that foundational piece. To have those 2 early fouls and come back and still be so productive, and just his presence alone. If you don't get a body on him, he's going to get that offensive rebound. He's going to cause extra efforts defensively. I love what he brings to this team. And again, I didn't expect him to have this kind of dominant effect for United when they signed him. So credit to them. And I know we start to talk about the MVP race and all of that. I think Melbourne United are going to be too balanced across the board to have anybody. But their historic run right now, it has been led by him. He's the leading scorer, I think, with like 14.5 points per game. It just shows how well balanced they are, how many superstars they have.
What did you guys make of the Mike Wells, Chris Goulding little interaction? Now, Mike Wells clearly saying, hey, that's a flop, that's a flop. Maybe it was. And some words exchanged here from Chris, which, when I look at it, you walk right up to a coach with like an intimidatory action. I don't think that's even the word. But when you walk up like that, it's probably a technical. Am I wrong?
Hey, anything's a technical these days. I'm glad it's
Hey, we'll touch on that later. We will
I'm glad
touch
it
on
wasn't
that.
a technical, but I thought it was just good in-game play. Mike got a smile on his face. He's kind of egging Chris on. Chris goes back. That is just a great, healthy interaction. I love to see it.
Yeah. Again, based on everything else we're about to talk about, I was shocked that it wasn't teed up. We've seen a whole lot less give and text this round. But yeah, I think the theatre of it, with Mike Wells in the press conference, he was great. Unless it crosses the line. Obviously, I think of the referees, if you start to really go back and forth throwing profanities around, then it's different. But from all that, it just looked like 2 guys in the heat of battle.
Yeah, I did just I wanted to stoke the argument, but I don't want to seem like a Karen. I want to say that I thought it was handled fantastically by everyone involved because, again, Mike Wells, he's smiling, having a laugh about it. He sort of initiates it with that. And then Chris, again, it's all in good
But the issue is, as you spot on, is the rest of the fans, everybody's saying, and we'll talk about it later in the show, John Brown did a whole lot less and ended up having an early shower. So I can understand the sentiment from everybody based on that and some other texts we've seen in the last couple of weeks.
Hey, last week, me and you got into it. We made a bet. You said that Melbourne United will be undefeated through 2025 going into the end of the year. And you got lucky. What was the term that you used about close games? I really enjoyed it.
Close only counts in hand grenades and horseshoes. That's it. You lose by 1 or you lose by 100. Same damn thing. And you're right. I did say Melbourne United would not lose another game in 2025. And Adelaide did everything in their power to do that. They caught Melbourne United on a good offensive night, which is some credit to the 36ers. But you got to have some luck as well. I forgot who said everybody's got something to say about NBL these days, which is great. But somebody said Melbourne United needs to win a tough game. They need to be battle-tested. You don't want to just have a nice, easy run. And that game epitomized being battle-tested, and they passed it with flying colours.
And when you look at the list of teams that have gone undefeated before, there's a lot of Melbourne United on there. Now, part of the reason is because of the tennis. When the tennis comes around, a lot of their road games are backlogged towards the end of the year. So we say this every time during the season. You got to be careful when you're declaring Melbourne United as the champions early, because they get a lot of games at homes in this earlier part of the season, especially through towards this sort of end break of the year.
You talk about their next games and how long this historic streak can go and if they'll lose a game. If they lose a game in the calendar year, like you're saying they won't, it's going to be between the years, right? Because it's about getting up for these games now. Right now, they're the best team in the competition. We look at their next 3 of what's going to make them motivated enough to continue this. I think the next game they play, which is the Sydney Kings on Cup Eve, is a chance for them to have their best historic start. If they're currently tied with that 2016 one, it'll push them to 10-0 standing outright. I think there's enough motivation there. Then they go to Illawarra. Now, how much can you get up for that game? Well, they're playing Illawarra, who ended their championship hopes last year, so there should be some motivation there. And then they play in a throwdown. So the next 3 games, there's enough motivation, but it's those games where you go into it whoever you're playing, whether it's Perth, whether it's Tassie, we don't really have anything to achieve here. I think that's where they could slip up. I'm not saying they will.
Every year that this always happens. They play all their games at home, and then the tennis comes to town. They went to the championship series the last 2 years. So there's no issue for them going on the road. They actually bond better on the road. Now, when they have to play up against, Sydney Kings in a throwdown, I feel like Dean Vickerman. Dean, you might be the MVP because what he's organized with this group to have that level of balance, I've never seen 10 guys, even 11 guys, play with so much team ego and so much poise. Like normally the old days, the guys sit on the benches go, I hope it's a blowout, I can get in the game. Nope. Anybody can play.
But you're with me with the sake of if they do, it's going to be on that boredom factor of like,
That's
hey,
what I said,
so
yeah.
right now they have reasons to be motivated for the next 3 games. If they just start to say, man, this is a bit too easy or think it, that's when it could happen. I don't think Dean Vickerman will allow it.
Wait a minute. Shout out Townsville Crocodiles who went 16 straight back in like 2002 or something.
But see, the reason Townsville did so well, because there was nothing to distract you in Townsville. Whereas Cup Eve, you got the Melbourne Cup the next day. The guys know there's a public holiday, maybe a couple of birdcage passes on the way to the better guys. I reckon their minds are going to be elsewhere.
They play Wednesday night in the Ignite Cup, so I think they'll be locked in.
They probably will be. Yeah. Me on maybe a different count there. What about the Sydney Kings? An absolute meltdown for the ages there in the final quarter. They finally thought, hey, things are starting to track well. And Tassie do, as Tassie do. What a win for them.
I mean, unbelievable from a Tassie front, but the Sydney Kings, that last quarter, I mean, I'm not sure what happened. Like, you go down and try and break it all down, and exactly what went wrong. Kawet Noy, you expect him to go to the free throw line. I'm also shocked that the JackJumpers didn't kind of try and let Xavier Cooks just get it, and they spilt this. Magnay and Bannon, you thought, you know what, this is over. And then right here, I mean, Ben Air, the awareness just to get out and run, and this finish.
Travel.
Marshall.
Travel. Foot was on the ground. Foot was on the ground. It was a travel.
Unbelievable.
We're going to touch on them a little bit later, but that was a travel.
Sydney Kings did everything to lose that game. They literally snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory. Turnovers in the fourth quarter. Too much ISO ball in the fourth quarter. Then on the defensive end, no answer for Josh Bannon. None whatsoever. Josh Bannon's doing whatever he wants, hitting threes, getting offensive rebounds. And then that lazy pass from Xavier Cooks. I mean, that was the game. And obviously, Nick Marshall, I'm so happy for that dude, man, because he's been leading the home.
I love Nick Marshall as well. I think he's a fantastic player. I absolutely love him as a person as well. We're going to touch on whether that was a travel a little bit later on when we chat Tassie. But Xavier Cooks looks a shell of his former self right now. This is a guy that won an MVP in this league. He does not look anything near. And mainly, it looks from a confidence perspective. His skill hasn't gone anywhere, maybe at the free throw line, but it looks like he doesn't want to be out there.
I don't see that. I don't see it as a confidence issue. I see it as personnel issues. He is now playing with 2 ball-dominant guards. When I say ball dominant, I'm talking about a guard that can dribble the ball 16 times during a 24-second shot clock. Xavier Cooks is used to getting the rebound, and he goes, dribbles down, initiates offense, gets all kind of assists, gets on the rim, or get a pick and roll, and then he's involved in the short roll making plays. Now it is so ISO heavy. If Delly's not trying to bag somebody down, and Kendrick is jiff. And whenever Jalen Galloway gets the ball and Bull gets it, they're going to shoot it. The way the team is structured does not feature Xavier Cooks. To go a half of basketball without getting that man the ball, that is an indictment on the point guards. There's no way on earth. One of them got to go, what are we doing? Like, we don't want to play with this dude? So I just felt like Xavier's in a very difficult spot right now due to mainly the backcourt.
But that's where I think that you say that he's a point forward where he gets those rebounds and push and go. When the ball is reversed, you've got that ability that anybody, there might be one other guy in his position who can stay in front of him. When you get that first reversal, test the waters, get downhill, and a lot of that, I think, is stemming from his troubles at the free throw line. Right now, where he's really struggling to get to the free throw line. But I think getting him more involved, that's the only way that he's going to overcome any of those troubles at the free throw line, is getting there early and often. And again, I go back to when they played in Adelaide. He had a pre-game interview with John Casey and spoke unbelievably well about how right now he's had the struggles. It's all between the ears of the free throw line. But the way he stood up there and answered those questions, I was like, okay, he's raring to go. And they put him in more in those games. I'm with both of you on that. They need to get him more involved, but he's also got to take it on himself to be like, hey, I've won an MVP, man. No one can stay in front of me. I don't care if I get that reversal, if I get the rebound. I'm going because no one can stay in front of me.
He knows he's the MVP. It's the other dudes that don't know he the MVP. It's Kendrick Davis. It's Matthew Dellavedova. They're the ones. They got the ball. They got the keys. It's up to them to orchestrate and get that man involved. I'm from that school. If you're the guard, you got to get your studs involved. They're not doing a good job. Now, as far as confidence goes, Zave's got plenty of confidence. He didn't shoot good free throw percentage when he won the MVP. He knows he struggles from there. He is not scared to attack the rim because he's going to go to the free throw line. That is not an issue. I'm going to stick with the construction of the roster.
I was trying to work out why Damon was needlessly defending Xavier Cooks here, and then I remembered the Illawarra connection. There is a deep, deep bias within your bones for anyone that has had any involvement in that Illawarra system.
I respectfully disagree, but I've known Xavier Cooks since he was actually born.
Whether it's personnel, whether it is him at the free throw line, which I believe it is, and I think you're with me on that, Pete, he needs, if the Sydney Kings are going to be as good as they want to be, and they can be, he needs to find a way, or they need to find a way to get his ass involved more.
But I'm spot on with what Damon's saying, is they're not utilising him anywhere near as much as they should, right? You bring in these guys who are two ball-dominant guards, and I think we've seen them both flourish at different times when one's off the floor. But that's where and I'm sure he does have the freedom, but that's like on the coaching staff as well to say, hey, Zave, like when we're struggling here, we need you to just get downhill, get some heat on the rim. He's also a great facilitator. We've seen him get close to triple doubles. It's not gone. It hasn't vanished. It's right there. It's just about getting that right lineup on the floor to help him thrive. Because the Sydney Kings right now aren't going to be at their best unless they get the best out of a guy who's won an MVP. I think we can all agree on that.
They cannot be to where they want to be unless they can get Xavier Cooks working as well as they want. But maybe we're the only ones that think the Kings aren't there, because the master of propaganda, maybe even better than what they do in North Korea, is Brian Goorjian. Let's have an Elizabeth Perler after the game.
Really hard to talk right now. Hard to take it all in. Worked really hard. This game was really big for us, and we addressed a lot of things, and I thought the guys did a great job. I said this all along. I love the team. I thought we played a great game of basketball. Every night I sit here after the game, I just know coming here, we're in a battle, and we got to play really good basketball to win, and we have. Tonight was probably the best team game at both ends of the floor we've played.
I know we've been having some troubles with the NBL app, but did the Kings lose or did the Kings win? Because that was almost the words from a coach that have won. Now, I love Brian Goorjian as a person more than anyone, I think, any other coach in this league. And I also think he's an amazing coach, but my God, and he can spin it pretty well in the press conferences.
I didn't take it that way.
I certainly did.
Best team game that he said that was the best team game they played on both ends of the floor. I can see why he would say that. They almost won. They went down to literally a bad turnover, a bad possession. But what he's talking about is how they're going about their business on the defensive end. The whole Tasmania JackJumpers to 81 points. That's a winning score. Offensively, he saw the ball moving around and different guys getting involved. Jalen Galloway getting involved for the first time all season.
Off the bench, too.
He's looking at probably those type of things. He's not, and he's gutted. He's like Mike Wells after a game. Mike is a little bit more upbeat, but when you lose like that on home,
you blew a 16-point lead.
He
in the
did mention that as well. He did go on to
big
mention
blow.
how the locker room was so flat and they've never been feeling worse after. Understandably so, you gave that game away. I'm expecting a massive bounce back from the Kings with all the talk about this, the way that you give up that game, and I'm expecting it honestly to be led by Xavier Cooks. I really think that that's going to be, from the team perspective, when they sit down and say, Xavier, leading us this week coming in, we're right behind you, lead us to a victory here, and I fully expect them to do it.
The thing that's hard to remember here is we are 9 games into a 33-game season, and the Kings have some glaringly obvious issues. I would rather have the issue be so obvious like that than not know why we're winning or losing. Right now, they got a Xavier Cooks problem that, in my opinion, is easily fixable. The guy's good enough, the coaching staff is good enough to be able to fix that problem. If that's your major problem, so be it. I reckon you're going to find a way to resolve it. So I think the Kings are still very dangerous down the stretch.
They got more than that just problem. They don't have size. They don't have any size. Like Tim Suarez goes up, and they've already said, Brian Goorjian came on and said, we're not going nowhere else. This is the team, okay? So now you have to ask guys to just play bigger than what they are. Like nobody can go to the locker room and just get taller. That's not helping his case
either, right? Having to play the 5.
Yeah.
When it takes
how many times do I need to say it? Xavier Cooks, as soon as he goes to the 5 spot, I feel like throwing up in my mouth.
Okay, well, while you work to get that feeling away, it's time for an Ain't No Cupcake League. Rest in peace to our man, Corey Homicide Williams. Now, he would have loved this one, I reckon, more than any of the cupcakes we've brought, because the Perth Wildcats have signed a new import. Now, what do you do when you sign a new import in the NBL? Usually you do the playbook. Okay, let's go to NBA experience. Let's do that. How about we just go a little bit further?
Oh.
And, OK, is this going to be a graphic here? In 2021-22, he made the All-Rookie League Fits team. The League Fits team. I'm not going to have a fit if they post this. Slam stating, now we're quoting Slam magazine, held nothing back with his bold play on the court and his tunnel in his rookie campaign. We cannot be posting. I love you, Perth Wildcats. I love what you do. You run a better ship than anyone else in the NBL, but my God, we cannot be talking about the all-fits team while trying to hype up our new signing.
I don't want no parts of that league. If that's the all-fit league,
That puts a whole lot of pressure on his next ton of walkouts for the games too. Everybody, if you're bringing that form in, we want to see. And
no, we don't.
No.
We don't care what you wear. I don't
rock up in a Wildcats polo, man, after
Well,
that.
that's what I'm saying. Speaking of, I mean, this is just a perfect segue from a wardrobe. I'm not going to call it malfunction, but this was a malfunction. You see Lamar Patterson in the back of what is a phenomenal jersey, but he's missing a letter there. Peterson.
No.
I don't know what happened, just kind of peeled off, but we need to get that fixture, man, because he's been playing some really good basketball. The jersey is fantastic.
Is he a grandfather?
Is he a grandfather? I don't think so.
I don't think so. He's awful young.
No, I don't think so. I think that's just a mistake.
If you do go down to Rebel Sport, you've got to pay by the letter with that, so I can understand how sometimes...
Get the iron out.
Save a bit of
Get
money.
the iron out.
We're looking to get a new import, so we got to afford it.
Our man, Andrew Gase. Where isn't he?
We can't cupcake the goat.
I don't want to do it, but he's everywhere.
Oh,
He is sprunking some jocks. And have a look at him. Have a look at the paste.
You're telling me that man's a five-time Olympian?
He's in a defensive stance better than he was when he played basketball. Drewy, wow, he's everywhere. But look, good on him. If you want your brand to sell, put an old man with knock knees and pasty legs in it.
I tell you what that photo makes me very, very happy about. That the fact that the boomers back then did not wear the Opals bodysuits.
Yeah.
Because if Gazy was rolling around, he wouldn't have been in 5 Olympics if he was rolling around with those white legs in tights as well. We're going to hit Tassie and a whole lot more coming up after the break. Well, we chatted the implosion from the Sydney Kings earlier, but there's two sides to every coin. The Tassie JackJumpers, as they have throughout their entire existence as a franchise, just when you want to count them out, they find a way to win. What a finish from them. Yeah. Almost a season galvanising type thing.
Well, it has been. I mean, another one on the road. I expect them to come out with some fight because they were well rested. They didn't play for, 9 days from their last loss in New Zealand. They got to be in their own beds. Went on the road and 16 points down in the fourth quarter. So many other teams have just put the cue in the rack, but the way you're seeing Ben Ayre come out, you talk about Nick Marshall with the game winner, but everybody just kind of thriving. Josh Bannon, we spoke about it in the marketplace in the off-season. Josh Bannon, Tasmania, it seemed like a match made in heaven, and he's playing that way. The way they're getting the best out of each other. Majuk Deng was back, which was great, and Tasmania, this is just what they do. They're not going to beat themselves. They're going to slowly chip away. If you give them a chance, they're going to take it. Even that New Zealand game, you guys were calling it, they looked down and out, but they just kept chipping away. You thought they couldn't possibly, right? And they got there, and then they fell short. But once again, the JackJumpers, I think they're going to, once David Johnson comes back and they're fully healthy, I expect them to be one of those top 4 teams. I think it's Melbourne, I think it's Southeast Melbourne, Adelaide, and then I think it's the Tasmania JackJumpers.
Yeah, Scott Roth has done a great job. Their basketball values are they're non-negotiable, and Scott Roth is the gatekeeper of those values. Those guys are not going to lay down. Those guys are not going to not play hard. They're not going to not play the right way and go hero selfish ball. Even when Bryce Hamilton fouls out of the game, you think, okay, well, where's the major points going to come from? Josh Bannon steps up. They all step up by committee. They play the absolute right way, and you said it. You got to literally cut their head off, because they're not going to beat themselves. Their point guard, Tiger Campbell, is the lead guard to organize everything. Yeah, he might hit some shots and he might not hit some shots. He is going to make sure the ball is in the right people's hands at the right time. And, I like the way they're flowing. And when they get whole, I'm with you, Pete. I got him in my top 4.
Well, Bryce Hamilton's form's dipped a little bit, but I think once David Johnson comes back as another real primary scorer, it'll free him up a bit more. Because right now, teams are just honing in on Bryce Hamilton. And it's hard to not have to just beat the guy in front of you, but beat a whole system that's trying to quieten you down. Once Johnson's back before the FIBA break and this team gets rolling, if they stay healthy, I really like this Tassie team.
and Will Magnay. Shout out to Big Will, who's playing about 30 minutes a game when everybody thinks he should be playing 22 minutes a game. He's proven he's an Iron Man. He's healthy. He is one of the best bigs in the league. He's always been that talented, but he's never been on the floor long enough. Now you get 30 minutes of Magnay, he gonna make big plays. Into the game, like that steal against Zave, blocking the shots, doing all the usual stuff he normally does. It's good to see him out there.
And on that shout-out, we saw him the back end of last season, and we saw him then go overseas to play. Then he went to Summer League, and all around, he has not had a break. And to continue to play at this rate with everything we've seen from him in his career, he's phenomenal. But he's their backbone. He is their backbone. We'll talk about Hamilton, Marshall, all those other players. But Will Magnay is the glue. He's every part of this Tasmania team.
No rest, no rust. Words you live by, Damon.
Rest? No, man, you rest after the game.
You get that out of there. Also, you got to give a huge, I'm forgetting the word here, commendation, shout out, whatever you want to say. It's a really positive thing from Scott Roth. We've spoken about it before with Starks, a guy that's not going to be around here in the back end of the year. To not sit back and take the easy route, which would be fall on a bit of offensive prowess from him, and just say, hey, we'll use you when we need you, is a really brave move.
And again, I was thinking this when they're down in New Zealand, and I'm like, God, you've got a born scorer right there.
Yeah.
But then again, when you talk about it, when you did with Sydney, it's like, hey, Bryce Hamilton's out. Hey, Ben Eyre, if we lose Hamilton or David Johnson in the new year, I need you to step in and make some hustle plays. Nick Marshall, I need you to step up. He did that, and that's where the players get the confidence. You talk about players going into the JackJumper system and leaving a better player. It's because of little things like that you don't really get the credit they deserve.
And you think Scott Roth hasn't had a conversation with TJ Starks going, hey, man, this is how it's going to be?
I mean, he getting paid.
Like, before you even sign your name on the dotted line, Scott Roth going to let you know how it's going to be. So you're not going to come here under any illusion about, I wonder what he was talking about. You're going to know. So TJ Starks, be ready when your name is called. We've seen him bench Jordan Crawford. We've seen him leave Tiger Campbell and TJ Starks off late in games before. So, no, he's, like I said, he's the gatekeeper of their values, and there will be no shenanigans over there.
What about the Perth Wildcats? I feel like Perth, for me right now, are the hardest team to read in the league by a country mile about where they're going to be 2 months from now.
I'm completely in agreement with that because I have them as my championship pick in the preseason. You're telling me I'm not allowed to change this year.
Yep.
But more so, obviously, with the new signing coming in, their guard rotation, because they haven't nailed it yet, and you don't have to, right? It's still very early in the season. You've just got to figure this all out and make the playoffs and play your best basketball by then. But some hard decisions are going to have to be made in who falls out of rotations. Now that they've got this new signing coming in, alongside when Windler's healthy, Doolittle and JLA, there's 35 minutes a game from those three in big games. Who takes the minutes everywhere else? Ben Henshaw coming off his best game. Detch is back in the lineup. Jaron Riley's been playing really well. David Duke Jr.'s there. It's going to be tough to figure out.
It's just like we just talked about Tasmania JackJumpers. Guys on the end of the bench, just be ready. John really talks about it all the time. Your opportunity will come. When it does, you got to grab it. Don't say, oh, give me another one. On the day, you have to be ready to go. And right now, their biggest issue, in my opinion, is they don't know how to play with JLA. They just don't know how. This guy should be getting way more shots. We could probably talk about him later. But JLA is such a good focal point. But offensively, he goes in and out of games because I watched him get 5 shots and a half of basketball, and 2 of those off offensive rebounds. So they got to work that piece out. And obviously, when Dylan Windler comes back, that makes him much better. But
you were calling that game, so down the stretch, we have a look at some of the final shots. Are you saying that I don't think he has to shoot it every time, but I think he's got to be involved, right, with the game on the line? Sorry, he was fouled out of this game. He fouled out by this point.
But you're right, a fouled-out player certainly shouldn't be taking shots down the stretch.
Right, but so you look at that's a heavily contested too. Christian Doolittle, someone who I think can be really aggressive in those moments as well, and this was just a mistake from Jackson Ball and really good awareness from Doolittle for Pepper to hit that 3-ball. But I understand what you're saying, Damon, and I think you've hit the nail on the head with that, of trying to really make sure that JLA is your focal point every single time.
It's hard playing with superstars, like especially a non-selfish superstar, because a selfish superstar will let you know, give me the ball, but JLA is such a team guy, he doesn't say anything, but there's somebody on the floor that's got to recognize that this big dog has not had enough to eat yet and feed him.
Well, that was on the back, that unbelievable block there from JaVale McGee, from what we saw with the foul called from Christian Doolittle. You talk about the moment of understanding. We see so much holding, right? So much physical contact from the bigs. It didn't even look like JaVale McGee was ready to complain about the foul. Now, if he couldn't get his arm up, it's like in letter of the law, it's a foul. Like, you've got his arm hooked. Letter of the law, it's a foul. In those moments, you hate to see a game end that way. And I think the referee calling it is understanding that if JaVale can't get his arm up and you don't call it, you've made the wrong decision there as well. So in those ones, the bang, bang, sometimes you just damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I don't have a problem with deciding the game from the free throw line at the buzzer.
Oh,
I don't have an issue with that myself. If it's a foul, you got to call the foul. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't think you flopped that.
Well, I'm just saying.
I didn't even go.
What about a positive for the Wildcats is Ben Henschel, a guy that we always thought was going to have a big breakout year this year. He's been off to a little bit of a slow start, but it was great to see him rolling.
He's going to have to, right? Especially with Windler out. And this is what you hit the nail on the head, Damon, of guys have to be ready. You are not going to get through a whole season unscathed, injury-wise, guys fouling out. So with JLA, when he went to the bench, Windler's not there. They need other guys to be shot makers and playmakers. And he's had a tough start. He's had a really tough start to the season. So it's good to see him knock down some shots. But then my question goes with David Duke Jr. now announced. When they get him slowly up to speed, that's an import guard coming in. You expect him to be playing 25, 30 minutes eventually. Pepper played really well in Cairns. Jaron Riley's played well. Ben Henschel, Sunday Detch, Lat Mayan. Some guys are going to have to be unlucky, but those good teams, you just accept that, and as you said, you wait for your moment.
It's the two-guard spot that's open right now. That's it, the two-guard spot. And then you got some options there. Jaron really comes on, like you said, Pepper and Benny Henschel. Now, one thing about Benny Henschel, Boomer Benny Henschel, the Boomers, Asian Cup gold medal. This guy ain't going to lose belief in himself. He knows who he is. The best part I liked about Benny's game was post-game. When they asked him about the 17 points, he says, we lost. Nobody cares about the points that we lost. That's the right attitude. So he'll be ready when his opportunity comes.
If that's the right attitude, let's have a look at the opposite attitude. John Riley post-game, some very interesting comments.
What I would say about this is I could come in here, pound the desk and say, my players need to be looked after. In Scott Butler, I trust. What I will say for everyone that comes into an arena across the NBL and gets paid somehow through basketball, players are the superstars. And only the players are the superstars. Let's not get lost in why everyone is here.
Now, I'm never personally going to engage in ref action because I know it's an incredibly hard job to do and they cop enough online everywhere else, so I don't need to get into it. But I think John really may have navigated this one perfectly to not be fined but still have exactly his opinions out there.
I will absolutely bash bad refereeing because they're not immune. I mean, the game is not about them, and I'm with Johnny Riley. I trust Scotty Butler, too. The problem is Scotty Butler ain't the referee. It's them other sensitive, moody dudes out there calling these calls that's just ridiculous. It's those guys. So I hope they wake up with some remorse, but the game is always going to be bigger than the umpires. Pick a code, pick a sport, AFL. Every sport is going to have their referee make mistakes. We don't mind referee bad mistakes, Pete. We don't mind those because they're human, right? But we don't like, as players, the attitude. You look at a ref, he grabs his whistle. Like, what'd you say? Like, that's intimidation. They make a call and they stand right next to the coach, hearing everything he's saying, waiting for one word to go, hang on a minute, just walk away. But they don't do that. And it's not all of them neither. I want to be clear. It's not all of them. It's a couple of you. You know who you are.
To be fair, I think overall, I mean, the course of this season, if you take the not recency bias into it, but I think they've been fantastic. I really do. I think we talk about each year on year. There's been a couple now when I talk about just understanding the moment a bit more. Everybody's going to make mistakes. I mean, I go back to that block from when Cheatham got blocked in that dunk in Cairns, and he came out on Twitter and said, everybody makes mistakes. 100% agree. Right now, it's just understanding the moment. And we'll talk about it when we talk to Phoenix about the John Brown ejection, even the Doolittle fouls. You said just understanding the moment as a whole compared to a lot of other little things, I think is something, there's a little bit of room for growth in that.
Hey, we're going to get deeper to the Hawks next. You're going to love that one. Whew. The defending champs get it done. They are back, and they've done it in emphatic style with a win on the road in one of the most hostile of environments. Does something smell like toothpaste? Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's the emphatic grin that you've got next to me.
Hey, great win. No better way to get your season back on track than to go on the road in front of 12,000 of them Red Army members.
Rabid.
And rabid. But, yeah, the Hawks got it done. They put their foot in the sand. They stood on business and came out with a win by any means necessary. But before I keep going, I want to just give a shout-out. Indigenous round. Illawarra Hawks, 4 Indigenous players. Kobe McDowell-White, Johnny Narkle, Bawali Bales, and Dave O'Hickey, who I'm hearing might be playing this week. I'm hearing things. And assistant coach Joel Kalu. So I had to give him a shout-out because I don't know if there's any other team well, there's not. No other team represented like that. But the game itself, though, you can see the intensity the Hawks came out with. They got their absolute breaks beat off of them by the Phoenix by 40 points. So I knew a response was coming, but you still had to see it. And at the start of the game, I'm watching Tyler Harvey pick up full court. Something he's not renowned for doing, but he did it. And Bawali Bales was high energy early in the game. And as a collective, I could see they was all about their business. That didn't mean that was going to guarantee them a victory, but that's how you go about playing. That's what JT would have liked to see.
And that's what I wanted to see. I knew they'd come out hard, right, because of that, the way they lost that previous game, had a long time to wait. As a player, when you lose games by 30, 40, you want to play 2 days later because you want to forget that, you want to get a win. I wanted to see their response in game when the other team, when the Wildcats went on a run or two, and they responded each time. So I think this is a character season-defining win potentially for the Hawks, especially if they get Hickey back. There are also 3 players in the league where I sit back and start laughing watching. It's Bryce Cotton, like when they get going. It's Bryce Cotton, it's Chris Golding, and it's JaVale McGee. When JaVale McGee is doing what he's doing, I just sit here and just laugh because it's effortless.
The league has never seen anything even close to... Oh, that one right there. I lost it on that one. But, like, look, the guy is so skilled. I was worried that he wouldn't come with the right attitude because of what he's done in his NBA career. Maybe he would just look at little old Australia like, yeah, whatever. But he is playing team basketball. He's unselfish. Somebody, like Anna Lee Maley, interviewed him at halftime and said, do you feel like you should be getting more touches? He goes, well, you know, I could probably get some more, but, like, we're playing good basketball right now. He's all about the team. He's had such a bad... not reputation, but the way the media is focused on him throughout his NBA career, you think you're getting something else. But I saw that guy and what he's bringing to that team. And if they learn how to just include him more, way more, then they can really be good. But Sam's Frauding's on his way back, and I'm hearing Dave O'Hickey might be playing this week. So, yeah, things are looking up.
Let me float a little hypothetical your way. MVP, JaVale McGee. Is there a chance?
Right now, there's a massive chance. Right now, he's the favorite. Now, let me take that back. Wait. Let me be clear.
We take it right back anywhere. I think, what's the Happy Gilmore? I believe that belongs to Mr. Bryce Cotton.
Excuse me, sir. Can I finish?
You can finish now.
Thank you.
Just have to be alerted to the fact.
What do you think about a guy who's the 3rd leading scorer, 1st in rebounds, tied with Zion Cheatham, and 1st in blocks? What do you think about a guy that is this top 5, top 3 in 3 categories? Yes, Bryce Cotton is, he's Bryce, but Bryce is leading the league in scoring with 2nd in assists. That's really good. The only reason why JaVale McGee isn't the front runner is because the Hawks are down the bottom of the ladder.
Which is unfortunately a major factor.
That's a factor, and if they make the playoffs, he is the MVP. No issue at all.
But that's what you're talking about right now. So he can't be leading because you sat here last year and said how Bryce Cotton, he needs to finish in the top 6 or the top 4 to be. It does matter. Winning does matter. And for the Hawks, they haven't played as many games yet, to be fair, so they could be a little higher. I think it'll end up being a 2-man race if they continue to win games on that. So I completely agree.
So as of right now, as of right now, it's Bryce.
Because of the Hawks.
Only because. Put an asterisk next to it.
I'm with you.
Okay.
Well, no, not asterisk. Just it's Bryce because of where Adelaide are compared to the Hawks.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm with you.
What about someone who's probably not going to be competing for the MVP award, but QJ Peterson coming into the league is going to be the new import. What do we think of him? Early signs. I haven't been able to get a huge amount of information on him.
He can score the basketball. He can score the basketball, and that's what they need. They need someone who can come in. Again, Dave O'Hickey, how quickly he can get up to speed, obviously, the game fitness, because he had so long where he couldn't do anything, right? He couldn't even train. He couldn't even run for a while. He's going to be so important to that. Get Peterson involved as well. And then I think Froling, by the time he's back January and February, all those pieces are there. It's really exciting. As long as they can get to a point where they're about 500 and keep their head afloat for everybody to get on the same page fitness-wise, I think that can be a season-defining win with everybody coming back.
QJ Peterson, he's only a little dude, so I can't wait to welcome him to the society of the little big man. But I'm getting some reports.
You're out passes way too easy.
I'm getting some reports. Think about Casper Ware and some other unbelievable scoring guard like a Jerome Randall. Think about that kind of a combination of a guard.
Combined.
But bigger.
Has he ever
That's
made...
was big, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, think about, like, this guy's going to come in here. You're going to look at his
If
height.
this guy's a Casper and Jerome Randall together combination, we're looking at an MVP.
But has he made the All-League Fits team, according to Slam Magazine?
That's a good point.
So, yeah,
Fair
keep
point.
your statistical stuff out of here.
Fair
I'm
point.
worried about what he's wearing. What about, I mentioned Perth being incredibly unpredictable, and we just don't know where they're at. You can probably throw the South East Melbourne Phoenix in a very, very similar category in terms of we have seen polls from them. Either way, where do you sit right now? A big win over Brisbane.
I'm high on what they can achieve because they care so much on the defensive end. They are so good defensively, and they will always give themselves a chance to win basketball games. They'll always give themselves a chance to go and win a championship because Josh King won't allow anything less. The fact that Wes Iwundu is not playing 20, 25 minutes because, as Josh King said on the live broadcast, which, by the way, having a coach live at the start of the third quarter is excellent. That was so much fun to watch. And he said he's not quite in game shape. He's in game shape for every other team but Josh King. I guarantee you. Because Josh King's like, no, I need you to be ready to full court press. And I think the Phoenix are just slowly happy to go under the radar.
I'm big on the Phoenix, man. They're playing a style of play which we don't see. Somebody always got to be a little bit different than everybody else. 1 to 10, they're going to pressure the ball. They're going to pressure you and force turnovers. They got a defensive vice grip of a guy. They got like a bear trap of a dude in John Brown III who can take out just about anybody on his own. And then they spread the floor and they shoot the ball. Now, if you catch them not shooting the ball well, there's your chance. But if them dudes making 13, 14 threes a game, you've got problems.
What about in the midst of this defensive beast, you've got Nathan Sobey just running it up the front?
We've got to give a lot of love to Nathan Sobey, man. Again, since Josh King has taken over, Nathan Sobey is balling out. And what I love about it is we've so often seen Nathan Sobey be erratic at times when he tries to shoot his way out of troubles. His team, the way they play obviously helps, but he has been terrific. He had 62 points across the round, and I just love the way that he's leading from the front. And again, we talk about quite like MVP candidates outside of the Bryce Cotton numbers, the JaVale McGee numbers. The Phoenix are up the top of the table. So the way they're going, you're going to have Nathan Sobey just sneaking around. He's averaging 21, 4 and nearly 5 assists on 45% as a guard. The 45% number is massive for a guy that we've seen be a volume shooter.
That's been his biggest knock.
Correct. And if they continue to tick along wins, which I think they will, he's been phenomenal. So a lot of love to Sobes. Josh King is doing a fantastic job. And also shout out Malik Lewis, who had a really big game on the weekend as well.
I don't know whether it's a Josh King thing because he's so defensive oriented, but one of the knocks in the past has been that Sobey, he goes in hard, falls to the ground, and they're playing a man down on defense. I haven't seen that anywhere near as much this year.
He doesn't, again, Josh King, whether you miss a shot, whether you fall on the ground, if your first thing is not to get up and get back on defense, you sit next to him.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it is. He will play anybody who literally sulks or does whatever. That's just what Josh King's brilliant at.
Let me just say something about Nathan Sobey's shot selection. It's fine. He's entitled. That guy's that good. He can take a couple of bad shots, 3 to 4 bad shots, because he can make those bad shots. Sometimes a bad shot from him is better than a good shot from somebody else. So I don't like that narrative so much these days as it was like 5, 6 years ago.
Oh, it was a heavy one back then.
Oh yeah, but like that's a dead issue now for me. Sobey got the green light to do what he pleases on the offensive end because he's mature enough now to know. Okay, I tried to test it. It's not on. Let me get it. Let me get the ball moving.
There's 2 ways to leave a South East Melbourne game and be sitting next to Josh King or out of the game. You can play bad defense or you can get tossed. John Brown III, welcome to the NBL. Questionable to say the least, this ejection. I know I said I don't get into sort of ref bashing and stuff like that, but what happens is what happens. Unfortunately, it wasn't a great round for them, and this ejection, a lot of questions were raised.
Well, the first one was obviously they had delay of game warnings for handing the ball, so I can understand that one. This one here, so just waving off the ref and the other ref came in to tech, and I said it during the call. I understand that the referees have been telling people now, we don't want you complaining about calls. There's obviously players and coaches are going to have emotions when they disagree with calls. That's part of the game too. But that one in particular, if he says something, if he swears or whatever, if that's the first technical, if you haven't had one and it's like, hey, don't do that, and we've given you a warning, but if that's your first technical, I can understand it.
Yeah.
Unless, and we don't know exactly what he said, but it didn't look like a whole lot, unless he comes out with something completely vile and disgusting and really attacking an official, if that's going to end your night, that's brutal. That's got to be, I think, understanding the situation. If he's already had a tech, John, that's enough. Like, that is absolutely enough. Do not say another word. For that to happen straight away as a second technical, I got a bit of an issue with that.
Do you understand? The referee's got to understand who a guy is. This is the import, John Brown III. And the ref who called the foul on the sideline had no issue with him just doing that. Had no issue with it. The other dude, it's not even your fight, man. Get out of the way. It has nothing to do with you. You got to come over there and stick up for your boy. Hang on, bang. No warning. No, hey, John, hey, man, I could take you right now, but I don't want to kick you out the game because, look, all these people are here and you one of the marquee guys. But, hey, just be careful. Nope, couldn't do that, could he? He had to go out there and make this statement. That is terrible, man. No, it ain't no other way to say it. Everybody's trying to say, well, maybe he said something. He didn't say nothing. Don't give that ref any kind of an out. He just wanted to make a scene and that gesture. He wants you to take this pain and don't flinch about it.
And I'm all for cracking down, and we see a lot of carry on from players and coaches about calls, and we sit here and we're like, that's enough. Like, they need to stop that. But there's still, you can't get to a point where there's no warning because everybody is emotional when you're competing, jobs are on the line. So if you get something that doesn't go your way, that first reaction, you need to have a warning. And I think him getting a technical for a delay of game, whatever the technical was, that has to be judged completely differently. So there's two things both should have been looked at and saying, you know what, that's not technical worthy, that's definitely not ejection worthy.
Well, the delay of game is different. Now, if you got a warning for a delay of game, there's your warning. Now, you take the ball and then you drop it on the Phoenix guy's lap. Now, you don't touch the ball.
That's a technical.
That's a tech. That's what he got for his first one.
I don't like that one. That's the one where I say that's the rule. I know it's the rule, but the rule needs to change.
We can't argue that one. But it's the other one that we can argue all day. But anyway, the team ended up moving on without him. But yeah.
I was worried. I was like, they've just lost. Casey Prather's about to have 70. That's what I thought.
That's the thing. I'm sure a lot of people watching that. Hey, break now. Chat Brisbane and Casey Prather after this.
Time for Ray Smith to fire away. Making it rain on a Wednesday night in Cairns. Oh, wide open. Pepper. Open lob. Doyle misses. Edwards gets after it. Walker for the win. Melbourne win by one. The game of the season.
Unfortunately, the Mitsubishi Motors leading threes cares little for the importance of the shot. We are merely playing a volume game. And I'll tell you what I love to see here. Rain Smith sitting at 20, only 5 behind the GOAT in Bryce Cotton. He's having himself a year at the moment.
Yeah, he has. He's going to have to continue to pick it up because I believe the Taipans have a couple more injuries as well this week. So tough going for them, but always good to see who's on the leaderboard. Chris Golding's going to be in there very soon as well.
Oh, he's going to be right up there as well. Now, the great state of Queensland, they're struggling a bit basketball-wise at the moment, especially with the Taipans, but at least the Brisbane Bullets are somewhat providing them a little bit of joy, albeit this week it was sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe if you've seen the meme. That
game got away from them. The last game did, but they've been great previously. They playing with so much heart, resilience, obviously being depleted. Casey Prather's leading the way. Tyrell Harrison, another big who. They could use him a little bit better.
Don't get me started.
But they definitely, all the guys out there hitting the floor. Tane Murray had a big game. I still like Tristan Devers, all the contributions he's making, just being another body on the floor. Now, the Bullets are playing with some pride, and it's you got to honor that.
The issue is that nearly every game's getting away from them. They got away. That New Zealand game looked done and dusted. They had the 24-point comeback and nobody could believe what happened. You look at that game, yes, a whole lot of credit to them, but New Zealand did some awful things in that second half. The Melbourne United game, they found ways to chip away, but they put themselves in a hole. The Phoenix game, they put themselves in a hole, try to chip away. They can't keep doing that. And back to your point, we'll talk after. You've got one of the best big men in the league. Can you please get Tyrell Harrison the ball? Casey Prather, some things are inevitable.
Don't make him big.
Casey Prather's going to have 25. He's just a superstar. Can you please get Tyrell Harrison the ball a little bit more?
Well, let's hear from how Stu Lash wrapped it up because he told us he was going to give no excuses. I hope he held to it.
You know, I don't want to say it's fatigue, but I also know, that, we've had a long road, scheduled to start the season, and we've been fighting, and, maybe we were just a little gassed at certain moments tonight, and we lose Toey, after a short stint. So, we're kind of scrambling, there as well, and coming back from New Zealand, it's a 3-hour time difference. Like I'm not making excuses by any means, but we're playing a few key guys, well over 30 minutes on a short turnaround.
I love Stu Lash. I absolutely love Stu Lash. But you can't go through all of that and then say, I'm not going to make excuses on the back end of it, Damon. I know it's music to your ears.
I tried to block his ears.
I've counted the words out of Stu's mouth, not mine. Fatigue, tick, long road, scheduling, gassed, losing Toey, and time difference. That's 6 excuses. Now, let me just be very clear for the people of Australia. You need to know this. If you give a reason or a justification, it is an excuse. You can't trot it out there and then say, but that's not what I'm really talking about. That is exactly what you're talking about, man. You don't even bring it up. You walk into the press conference and you go like this, I can't believe we lost. Damn it, why did we lose that game? We didn't shoot well enough. We didn't defend well enough. You don't bring up all this stuff, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, credit to Stu Lasso, because above all, he's got this team playing through injuries incredibly hard. You've got to have heart to be able to come back like they did against New Zealand. So this man has been able to pull a little bit of a rabbit out of the hat. That's the one. Quick break.
Are you ready to beat the coach?
This ain't no regular thing. I came for the breed, you know what I mean. I shoot my shot and it's clean. This is my city, yeah, this is my team.
Play now at supercoach.com.au.
Beat the coach. You know what I love about this? Is the fact that you are probably the most resilient, most competitive man that I know. And now when you're not coaching, it's probably not a huge avenue because you fight a war against yourself when you go running. But now you've got all these NBL minions that you can take on every single week.
Yeah, bring it on. Bring it on. I can't wait. I'm loving this. I never played fantasy before, and I wish I was doing it at the start of the season, but this is fantastic. Here's my team this week, people. Good luck to you, and I don't mean it. I got Casey Prather as my vice captain. I got Admiral Schofield. I don't need no shenanigans out of you, Admiral, this round. I got Tane Murray, Alex Dukas, and I got Toddy Blanchfield as my flex coming off the bench. And look who's my captain. The brother from Flint, Michigan, JaVale McGee.
I'm beating that team.
Good luck to you.
All this is missing is a valet at the top. Why'd they go with the black and white, man? I thought something happened when they first showed me this graphic. I was getting worried for a second there. But hey, if you want to beat the coach and play Super Coach against Damon and potentially end up on a wanted list after he comes through if you beat him, scan that QR code. There is prizes. There's all this other stuff to go in there. But you've been pretty happy with yourself, haven't you?
Over 13,000 people played, registered the first time, the other round. 1,468 of you beat me. That was nice.
And
but
because of data,
13,327 of you took an L.
And he's got your names and he's got your emails. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, we get an equally as exciting round.